Is there going to be a co-presidency among three people not named Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump is disinterested in the job, has no real passion to be the president of the United States into his 80s. The only reason he ran again is to avoid criminal prosecution. And who are these potential three co-presidents that we should be focused on? I'm Michael Popok. You're on Legal AF, the YouTube channel. Take a minute. It's important now more than ever to join together, link arms, shoulder to shoulder, and help us build this pro-democracy channel in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network. And I'm Michael Popok at The Intersection. Lawrence O'Donnell had a very good posit, and I've been trying to put together the same puzzle pieces. I've listened intently at how Donald Trump has described the remit, the portfolio that he's assigning to RFK Jr., to Elon Musk. And now I know a lot about Susie Wiles, having come up myself through Florida and Florida politics, where she came out of. And if Susie Wiles, Elon Musk, and RFK Jr. do all of the things that Donald Trump has outlined, the only thing left for Donald Trump to do, besides playing golf, is to focus on oil and gas policy, which would make sense since he told the oil and gas industry if they gave him $1 billion, and they gave him less than that, but if they donated heavily to his campaign, he would reward them in the afterlife of his new presidency. So let me break it all down for you. Let's start with RFK Jr. Is he a co-president? Is he going to be the actual president of the United States on all domestic issues? Because apparently the domestic side does not interest Donald Trump. And he's going to allow RFK Jr. and Elon Musk in their different spheres to do that which presidents are required to do. Go beyond cabinet level appointments and have full remits like ministers, like ministers without portfolio that can just roam around and basically do Donald Trump's job. Does this surprise anybody? He was out of gas at 2016 to 2020 the first time around, and he was 8 years younger. He was not, we heard and saw the evidence. He was not interested in his presidential briefing book. He was not interested in any meetings to advise him or any readings. He has no prior knowledge about history or tactics or strategy successfully used in foreign or domestic policy. He's bored by the job. He would go golfing more than anybody. And now he's 8 years older. And he doesn't have Jared yet or Ivanka to kind of prop him up in the White House. So he brings in RFK Jr. Now, he's basically told, he just did a press conference in which he told everybody that, and these are quotes from the press conference, he's going to let RFK Jr. run wild, go wild, to do, quote, anything he wants, right? That he can do anything that he puts his mind to. And the only thing on a domestic policy standpoint that he wants RFK Jr. to stay away from as a co-president, if you will, is oil and gas policy. He joked and said, just stay away from the liquid gold, Bobby. Just stay away from the liquid gold. Sure, because in his past life, RFK Jr. was an environmental lawyer that used to go after oil and gas industry. So that was Donald Trump's not so subtle dog whistle telling the oil and gas industry, I'm going to give the entirety of my presidency on the domestic side over to two people, one named RFK Jr., the other one named Elon Musk, while I just focus on oil and gas policy and maybe wars. That's what we're hearing. So RFK Jr., the natural place for him, based on everything he's been saying, like yesterday saying he's going to eliminate most and gut most of the Food and Drug Administration, right? He's an anti-vaxxer. He's a conspiracy theorist. So he wants to get rid of, like, for instance, the department, the department within the FDA that deals with childhood nutrition and nutrition. They're gone, according to him. Now, there's been a rumor that he wants to be the head of the Health and Human Services. The problem is there's also smoke signals from within the transition team headed by Howard Lutnick that that Bobby Kennedy's never getting that position. Well, I don't think he's getting the head of environmental protection. So if he doesn't get one of these two major positions, this just reinforces my argument. I think this was a good point raised by Lawrence O'Donnell, that he's just going to be a minister without portfolio, roaming like a free radical around, controlling all of domestic policy. I'd rather him, frankly, to cauterize the wound and protect us, give him a mandate, put him somewhere. Because to roam freely, he's just a co-president that's not answerable to the American people. Not that Donald Trump is. But I don't know how else to make. When they asked Donald Trump a very pointed question, which of all your first priorities, what is your first priority at 12:01 on January 20th? Which executive orders are already being drafted for your signature with your big black Sharpie? What are you going to do? And he gave a rambling response that seemed to, with no thought, as if he hadn't thought about this. Well, the borders and good people and bad people, but we're going to let companies come in, but we're going to get rid of bad people, and murderers and kidnappers and drug lords are out and good companies are in. Did I answer your question? No, you didn't. I guess Chinese tariffs are not one of your major new first orders. Okay. I guess it sounds like you're going to be focused on immigration and the border. So Donald Trump is going to do immigration and the border policy. And Donald Trump's going to do oil and gas policy to reward his oligarch buddies and everything else on a domestic side that bores him anyway. From health and human services to Medicare and Medicaid and social programs and welfare and food stamps and taking children out of poverty and all of that and how they're vaccinated, what kind of nutrition they get, and the elimination of the Department of Education. Turn that over to a combination of RFK Jr. and Elon Musk. This is the Trump administration, but it goes beyond that. So that's RFK Jr. Again, this free radical conspiracy theorist is just going to roam around basically controlling Donald Trump's domestic policy. And when he's not doing it, this is going to be my favorite part, the RFK Jr. Elon Musk meetings, Elon Musk is. Now, let's focus on Elon Musk as a co-president. Okay? Donald Trump, let me just say this out loud. Besides the fact that Elon Musk is going to get a huge windfall tax break if he decides to join the government. Huge. He'll be able to sell off dead assets he's been trying to get rid of for years and sell them off without any tax consequences as a condition of joining the government. If he comes in some cabinet or new cabinet level position, which I'm sure he's pushing for, big tax windfall for Elon Musk. Keep an eye on that. I know I will. Now let's look at what Elon Musk is going to be given within his remit by Donald Trump and taken off, again, Donald Trump's own plate while he continues to look wistfully out the window at the golf course. Elon Musk is going to be in charge, no doubt, of cryptocurrency and digital currency. Who gets the SEC position, the Securities and Exchange Commission? He wants a Securities and Exchange Commission head who's going to be supportive of his digital assets and cryptocurrency and get the SEC out of regulating cryptocurrency and go back to the wild, wild west when people made hundreds of millions of dollars in a day in crypto. And Donald Trump is going to delegate completely and abdicate complete responsibility for any policy to protect American consumers and investors around cryptocurrency. In fact, Donald Trump, who owns a cryptocurrency company, is going to create with our tax dollars a cryptocurrency reserve, right? Like a strategic reserve, like an oil reserve, to have billions and billions of dollars held by the American Treasury in order to bolster and drive up the cryptocurrency fortunes of Donald Trump and Elon Musk and the rest of the oligarchs. That's happening. That policy is going to be shaped, is going to be developed and implemented by Elon Musk. Musk is the one, along with some other Wall Street tycoons that have all jumped on board Donald Trump's train, are going to be handpicking the Securities and Exchange Commission head, the Commodities and Futures head. Every alphabet-lettered regulatory agency about the financial markets to make them fair and balanced, gone, hollowed out, replaced as soon as they can. They want to get their greedy little hands on our economy. The Federal Reserve, as soon as they can start replacing people, even though the Federal Reserve Chairman has said, F you, I'm not going anywhere until my term is over. I'm not going to resign the way other Fed chairmen have resigned to give Donald Trump that position. And so there's going to be a fight in the courts about Powell being fired or not. But this is all going to be under the remit of Elon Musk. All financial market regulation and now deregulation is going to be turned over to Elon Musk. The Securities and Exchange Commission has been a bee in Elon Musk's bonnet forever, a thorn in his side for his own public companies like Tesla. And he wants to pay them back. And he will. He's going to pick some meat puppet, I call them the meat puppets, that are going to be put in charge of the SEC like the last time Donald Trump was in power. Somebody who's malleable, somebody they can trust, somebody that's a golfing buddy of theirs at a country club that all MAGA hang out at. But that's not the only place that Elon Musk, unlike RFK Jr. is going to be all the domestic stuff other than environmental. Okay? Everything is up for grabs. He is going to be the first recommender for Donald Trump. Musk is going to be on the financial market side, but not just that. Also, Secretary of State and Secretary of Defense. The Defense Department and the State Department, very important to Elon Musk. First of all, he's got, listen to this number, he's got 17 current contracts with this administration. Government contracts worth over $3 billion. Now, he'll set everything up in a blind trust, but I assure you those numbers will double for his companies while he's quote unquote in office. Musk, I mean. And he wants a malleable, soft, easy to manipulate State Department and Defense Department, because on the state and defense side, he has weapon technology and military technology, military-grade technology, like his Starlink satellites. And he, not the American government, he wants to decide who gets his technology to win what war and when and on what foreign policy. We're now entering the era. I don't care who the Secretary of State is. I don't care who the Secretary of Defense is. They are going to answer to Elon Musk under the guise that he's in charge of the purse strings, that he's going to be the head of government efficiency, right? And so they're all going to answer to him. So don't get too settled in there, Defense Department and Secretary of State, even though those are the big plum jobs of the cabinet. Your boss is not named Donald Trump. Your boss is named Elon Musk, because he wants to make sure those departments are set up for his benefit and to line his pockets. Elon Musk can never be president of the United States directly because he was born in South Africa and he's not an American. He's not a natural born American. However, he's effectively going to get half of the control of the government. The only thing now left, now I want to talk about Susie Wiles. The only thing left are the things that interest Donald Trump. Oil and gas, and playing golf with his oil and gas buddies, right? What he calls liquid gold. And the foreign aspect of it. That means effing with our allies, effing with NATO, making us less secure, going after the Iranians, going after the Chinese in a trade war, going after, supporting other oligarchs, supporting other dictators, and reshaping foreign policy again to the Trump policy. That seems to interest him, except again, his boss is going to be Elon Musk, because Elon Musk is going to say, I don't think we should do that. I don't think we should go into this country or that country or support this country or this democracy because it's bad for my business. So you can see when you start chipping away at the domestic and foreign policy, the financial markets and the wars, who really is going to be the commander in chief? Who really is going to be the president who's supposed to be presiding over foreign and domestic policy when he's given so much responsibility, he's about to RFK Jr. and Elon Musk, who are going to be the bosses on top of all the cabinet members? And now you bring in Susie Wiles. Now, I don't know how long Susie Wiles, yes, I understand. She's the first woman White House chief of staff ever. That's hard to believe, but it is the case. So she broke a glass ceiling. Now, Susie Wiles, until she joined with Donald Trump, was a relatively well-respected a political operative, came up through the rough and tumble world of Florida politics. She ended up working in a lot of different campaigns, leading to DeSantis. She helped the DeSantis campaign. She worked for Rick Scott, that successfully. So she was right-wing conservative, not necessarily MAGA, but became MAGA through her work with DeSantis and Scott, for sure. But she also worked with Ronald Reagan and worked for his campaign. She worked for Jack Kemp, who was a famous football player who ran on a ticket with Bob Dole for vice president at one point from Buffalo, New York. So she was very conservative, like a Reaganite. She became, in her mid-60s and late 50s, she became a Trumper and MAGA, for her own political fortunes. Now, look, Susie Wiles may be very close to Donald Trump. She was the co-campaign director with Chris LaCivita for this winning campaign that happened on Tuesday, and this was her reward. Republicans and MAGA are all excited because Susie Wiles is going to add some discipline to what's lacking in Donald Trump, because discipline is not his middle name or anywhere as part of his DNA. So they're all happy that Susie Wiles is going to be babysitting Donald Trump. Now, the question is the babysitting going to become more? Is the chief of staff effectively going to be the other president who's going to handle the other stuff that Donald Trump has no attention span for? I mean, he's got the attention span of a fruit fly and the lifespan of a fruit fly at the rate he's going. And so you have that going on. And I left out the last one. You got Susie Wiles in there. Just to warn Susie Wiles, look at history. Donald Trump went through four chief of staffs in 4 years. One lasted months. Reince Priebus, the first one, lasted like 6 months or less. The other ones, not that long. The longest serving one, General John Kelly, who believed that Donald Trump's a fascist that should never be returned to the White House. So Susie Wiles is in. And if she's going to do the mop up on all the cleanup on all the aisles that Donald Trump doesn't want to clean up, there's not much left for Donald Trump to do. And then I left out JD Vance. Let's talk about him. And one prediction I have, and we'll put this in the time capsule. We can all come back to Legal AF and talk about it. If Donald Trump truly did not want to be president, but for the criminal convictions and prosecutions and to get rid of them, and to make sure he didn't go to jail in his late 70s and early 80s, and he has no real interest in doing the job because he really had no interest the last time in doing the job, and outsourced and delegated the way I'm outlining to another group of people. If that's the case, and he's concerned about preserving the MAGA culture, that he'll do something that even Joe Biden didn't do for Kamala Harris. He'll start showcasing JD Vance early in the administration, giving him big chunks of responsibility as the czar of one or two things. Maybe it's going after Obamacare and destroying it. Maybe it's the immigration policy. He's going to give JD Vance something big to do, which again takes it off of Donald Trump's plate. More golf time for Donald Trump. He doesn't travel outside the country. He hates travel. He brings his pillow wherever he goes. So now we got JD Vance as the fourth co-president. And I'll take it one step further. I will posit that Donald Trump doesn't make it the whole 4 years. I don't mean through natural causes. I mean somewhere after he's lame duck and gets really bored, especially if the midterm election goes against him and crushes his chances to have both houses of Congress going forward. And he only has that for 2 years. I could see Donald Trump resigning early. He's done his job. He's done everything else historical. He's the first twice impeached, 34-time convicted president to be reelected. Okay, that's for sure. He's only the second president in our history to ever come back from a loss to regain the White House. So, what would stop him from going, 3 years is enough? I mean, we used to think popes didn't resign and they only died, with their red slippers. But, we saw a pope recently resign. We currently have 2 popes. So with Donald Trump, let's say after a crushing defeat at the midterms, he decides to resign, turns it over to JD Vance. Now he's really not president. JD Vance gives him any pardons that needed to be given, JD Vance gives it to him because there's always a doubt about self-pardoning. Why litigate over self-pardoning? Just have President JD Vance pardon you and give JD Vance a year to be prepared to be President JD Vance to be running against the Democratic alternative. Keep an eye on that. And it also reinforces who is going to run the White House, the domestic and foreign policy, after you're done with RFK Jr.'s remit, Musk's remit on the financial markets and on foreign policy side, RFK Jr. on domestic side, Susie Wiles about everything that Donald Trump doesn't want to handle, and JD Vance being given a large czarship, is that right? to moving forward in order to set him up for the presidency and maybe become the president in year 3 to turn back and give Donald Trump a real full presidential pardon for everything he'll do during the next 2 years, if not in the past. Keep an eye on it. I know I am. You're in the right place. Hit the button, blue subscribe. Legal AF, the YouTube channel, we're doing in collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, and you're here for it. And I'm here for it. I'm Michael Popok. I curate this channel, and I bring it to you just like that, like this, without blowing smoke or sunshine. So until my next reporting, I'm Michael Popok. This is Legal AF, the YouTube channel. In collaboration with the Midas Touch Network, we just launched the Legal AF YouTube channel. Help us build this pro-democracy channel where I'll be curating the top stories, the intersection of law and politics. Go to YouTube now and free subscribe at Legal AF MTN. That's at Legal AF MTN.